law, and justice. We all tend to think that they mean the same thing. Of course they don't. I recently heard an address by the Prime Minister to the Australian Asia Institute, and after his address on our involvement in Asia, I asked him that in view of Australia's spectacular success in its leadership in Cambodia, why the same processes could not be applied to Burma. His reply was that the circumstances are different. Now, they are different in law, but the injustices are the same, the brutality is the same, the corruption is the same, the incompetence is the same. So we must realise that if we are to pursue justice vigorously and properly, and in the way we should pursue it, we will sometimes have to depart from the written letter of the law. And that's the nature of the beast that confronts us. Now, is there any other question? Maybe time for one last question.
Military has been dominated for 60 years. And now military becomes lame duck. And democracy is deemed to take power or something changes. If that changes, has any impact on Burmese politics and on Burmese military structure or something?
Well, who would like to, who amongst the panel would like to comment on any possible change in Burma's attitude, in Thailand's attitude to Burma following the change of...
Thailand has renewed some of the contracts, logging contracts. This is the first change. That was prior to this pro-democracy demonstration in Thailand. Prime Minister Anand is a pro-democracy man. So if he is in power, it's okay. But Shawlit Yaochayut was the same general who has now changed clothes. He's the one who loaded the plane with gifts and landed in Rangoon in November '89, exchanged gifts with Soma, and signed all the 200 logging concessions from his son-in-law's company. If he comes back in power, which is the man nominated now, we have to be a bit careful. We have quite a close working relationship with the student movements and the union inside Thailand. And the unions have been quietly not getting on with the Thai military in the last 5-6 months since the coup. So through our labor union here, we have contacts with the union in Thailand who are supporting pro-democracy movement. Hopefully, with the student union and the young members of those parties, young active members of those ruling parties, we might be able to keep the pressure up. I think the Thais also realize that their fingers are burnt. And now it's on the back now. They're fighting for survival. So I think there will be some change, hopefully. But if Shawlit Yaochayut become the elected Prime Minister, which he will be, because his name has been nominated as by the pro-democracy or the coalition group. So I don't know. We'll have to keep our eyes open and keep the pressure on Thailand.
Yes, Patricia.
I'd just like to add that during March when I was on the Thai Burma border, I visited one of the refugee camps on the river, actually right on Point of the Moor in the Sawi River. And the camp leader said that they noticed the people in the camp that for the first time the Thai authorities had actually the Thai patrol guards, which had suddenly increased all along the river and the border, had given the people, the refugees, medicines. And this was seen as a sign of a softening in terms of the assistance being given to the students and the displaced coming across the border. And you all know that before that, the Thais were very much assisting the Burmese military by letting them enter through the back to attack the Korean. Well, this had been now very much closed through by having all Thai patrol infantry numbers increased all along the river. So that was one of the signs that we saw during March.
Thank you. Patrick, you had your hand up, so yours is the last question.
Absolutely. Patricia, Patrick Thomas. they are still persistent. My information gives me just accurate information that the Burmese soldiers are still on the Thai side. I have not been back to Burma as recent as you have. But information comes to me that they are still there. The Burmese soldiers are still on the Thai side of the border.
I can't actually confirm.
When Kim Yon, before the front of Soma, they have withdrew all the attack. There's two things to be said because the rain's coming and the KNU leaders in Japan. I've met some of the institute ministers in Japan. They have withdrawn from Komura, which is the southern, 160 miles south of Manapur, the current base. They have withdrawn the army troops. They have withdrawn from the Sleeping Dog Hill. They have withdrawn from the tactical distance into the third range. So they are not even close to those ranges which are, if people know, there's a Selwyn River and then a Moy River. Moy River is the one that is closest to Thai side. In between there are about 6 ranges. So they have to cross over range after range, and they took hold of Sleeping Dog Hill, which is just close to the Selwyn, and Manaplo is just here close to the Moy River, which is just across the river from Thai territory. So this is the closest, about 10 miles as a crow fly where a motor can reach. So they have vacated that hill. They have gone back towards the other hill. So there's about 70,000 of them. They have withdrawn back to some of those positions, maybe because of the rain.
3 million people, or thereabouts, a once wealthy nation, where freedom and democracy and decent government would not only bring a better life for the people of Burma, but would make a massive contribution to the whole of the problems of Asia and the Pacific. It could even become a country that gives leadership in the region if it is properly, if itself is properly governed. So we've got a great cause. We have a great enthusiasm. It's up to us to carry that enthusiasm from this meeting tonight and make certain that the message is heard wherever we can make it heard. And on that point, questions were asked about greater detail, and I've been advised that Bertil Lintner's book, and he's a student of Burma and an authority on Burma, on the uprising of 1988, entitled Outrage, is available outside this meeting room, and the audio cassette and lyric book in Burma, Burmese and English, produced by Burmese students in Thailand, is also available. So for those who want more information and more authoritative information, those audios and books are available. Thank you all for coming together like this, and a special thank you to Dr. Rek Shorgi for being our host tonight, and a special thank you to our guest speakers, all of whom brought a great degree of professionalism, experience and expertise to help us better understand the problem and better find the solution. Thank you all. I look forward to more meetings like this, and I have committed myself in what time I can to assisting where I can, and I trust we go forward with a great degree of enthusiasm to help find an answer to this great problem. Thank you.
Recently have been dismissed as a smokescreen by opponents of the government in Rangoon. But Burmese exiles and their allies are not giving up the struggle, meeting in Sydney to try to keep up the pressure.
The Burmese community in Australia says it's tired of the lies and deceits of the military junta which is currently governing their country. There are many reports of torture and other human rights violations and a continuing exodus of refugees. Justice Marcus Einfeld recently visited the Burmese refugees in Bangladesh.
The Burmese government is continuing to oppress its people in an unbridled and ruthless way. The secret police operate everywhere. People have no freedom.
Since April, there have been some apparent changes. The government has released some political prisoners. But hundreds are still not free, including Aung San Suu Kyi, whose National League for Democracy party won the 1990 election, but still has not been handed power. The forum called for international sanctions, including a trade and arms embargo, and condemned Australia's wait-and-see attitude.
It would be inappropriate, I think, for us to leap in with further sanctions-type activity at this stage, but it's certainly an option we're keeping open.
It is a very crucial time when we need this little step to stop this, to strangulate this military junta.
Opponents of the Burmese government say it is not genuine in making real changes to the constitution and expressed concern over the increase in the defence budget to around 40% of the nation's gross domestic product. Angela Giorgio, SBS News.